Be careful with the tomatoes in your kitchen. If stored improperly, they can quickly become soft, lose their natural sweetness, and even spoil in just a few days. Hello, it's great to see you again on the Clever Tricks channel. Tomatoes are one of the most familiar ingredients in the kitchen. However, many people often buy a lot of tomatoes when they see them cheap at the market, but don't know how to store them properly. As a result, after only a few days, the tomatoes start to soften, wrinkle, or spoil very quickly. So in today's video, I'll share with you 3 simple and extremely effective ways to preserve tomatoes, helping you keep them fresh longer and always ready to cook anytime. Especially at the end of the video, I'll be showing you how to make a tomato dish that's fit for a 5-star restaurant, so stay and watch until the end. I have created subtitles in multiple languages. Please select your preferred language. Comment below and let me know which country you are watching from. It's amazing that we can connect from all around the world. To preserve tomatoes for longer, we first need to clean them properly. Put the tomatoes in a bowl of clean water and add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Baking soda helps remove dirt, pesticide residue, and other impurities from tomato skins, leaving them cleaner without affecting their natural flavor. Soak the tomatoes in water for about 5 minutes, then rinse them thoroughly with water. Next, remove the tomatoes and let them drain completely. When the tomatoes are dry, proper storage will help them stay fresh longer and prevent spoilage during storage. Method 1. Storing tomatoes in a container. First, prepare a large container with a tight-fitting lid. Next, line the inside of the container with a layer of paper towels. The paper towels will help absorb excess moisture and keep the tomatoes drier during storage. If you don't have paper towels, you can also use clean newspaper as a substitute. Newspaper is also quite good at absorbing moisture and works similarly. After lining the container with paper, begin placing each tomato on top. Arrange the tomatoes gently, leaving adequate space between them. This prevents the tomatoes from being crushed, bruised, or softening quickly. Continue arranging them until all the tomatoes are neatly packed in the container. If you have a large family and often buy a lot of tomatoes, you can easily store about 3 to 4 kilograms of tomatoes in a large container using this method. After arranging the tomatoes, close the lid of the container. It's very important not to place the container in the deep freezer compartment of the refrigerator. Instead, place the container in the refrigerator's crisper drawer where the temperature is more stable and suitable for keeping the tomatoes fresh for longer. When needed, simply open the box and take out the tomatoes as usual. With this simple preservation method, tomatoes can stay fresh for up to a month while retaining their juiciness and natural flavor. This is a small but very effective tip, especially when you buy a lot of tomatoes and want to keep them longer. Where are you from? It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Method 2. Preserving tomatoes in a glass jar. First, prepare a clean, dry glass jar. Next, gently arrange each tomato in the jar. You should choose tomatoes that are intact without bruises or cracks. When arranging the tomatoes, place them with the stems facing upwards and avoid packing them too tightly to prevent them from becoming crushed and soft. Place a small bag of coarse salt or sprinkle some salt in a small corner of the jar. Avoid direct contact between the salt and the tomatoes. The salt will absorb moisture and inhibit bacterial growth, helping to keep the environment inside the jar drier. After adding the tomatoes, close the lid of the jar. After adding the tomatoes, close the lid of the jar, or in the refrigerator's cooling compartment. This method helps tomatoes stay fresh for longer, reducing bruising, mold, and spoilage. You should check the jar occasionally, and if you see any fruit starting to soften, take them out and use them first to avoid affecting the others. Method 3. Making frozen pureed tomatoes. Now I'll share the third tip, a very convenient way to preserve tomatoes if you frequently cook sauces or stews. First, cut off the top stem of the tomato. Next, cut the tomatoes into small pieces, just like you would when preparing a smoothie. Put all the chopped tomatoes into the blender. While blending, add 1 teaspoon of salt. Salt helps to make the tomatoes easier to blend and the mixture smoother. Then blend until the tomatoes become a smooth, fresh, and slightly thick sauce. Next, prepare an ice tray. Using a spoon, scoop portions of tomato sauce and place them into the compartments of the tray. This is a very useful tip, especially when tomatoes are cheap at the market. You can buy a lot and store them this way to use all year round. After filling the tray, place it in the freezer until the tomatoes are completely frozen. Once the tomatoes have frozen, remove the tomato cubes from the tray. Next, prepare a clean, dry Ziploc bag, then put all the frozen tomato cubes into the bag. It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Seal the bag tightly or place it in an airtight container. This method saves a lot of space in the freezer, and you can stack many bags neatly on top of each other. When needed, simply take out the appropriate amount of tomatoes. For example, if you want to cook sauces, soups, or stews, you just need to add a few frozen tomato cubes to the pot. After removing the tomatoes, simply seal the container or bag tightly and place it back in the freezer for continued storage. So now you know 3 ways to keep tomatoes fresh, flavorful, and aromatic for months. Which method do you like best? Let me know in the comments. Now we're going to make a delicious, flavorful dish, baked tomato soup using an air fryer. When I first tried this method, I was really surprised at how rich and aromatic the flavor was. First, put about 1.5 kilograms of ripe red tomatoes into the air fryer. Next, add the chopped onions. Next, add the chopped red bell peppers to the mixture. Now, add the 2 peeled garlic cloves. Roasting the garlic will give it a fragrant aroma and a richer flavor. Next, season with salt, black pepper, dried basil, and finally, chili powder. Finally, drizzle some olive oil over it. Then mix all the ingredients well so that the seasoning evenly coats the vegetables. Place in an air fryer set to 200 degrees Celsius and bake for about 20 minutes. While we wait for the vegetables to finish grilling, let's prepare the bread to serve with them. Place the pan on the stove, heat it up, and add some butter. Cut the fresh bread into slices. Then pan fry with butter until both sides are golden brown and crispy. Add a sprinkle of black pepper to enhance the flavor. After about 20 minutes, the vegetables in the air fryer will be tender and fragrant. Take all the ingredients out and put them in a deep bowl. Use a hand blender or food processor to blend until the mixture becomes a smooth, creamy tomato soup. After about 20 minutes, the vegetables in the air fryer will be tender and fragrant. When serving, ladle the tomato soup into bowls. It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Place the crispy toasted bread next to it. Garnish with a few fresh basil leaves. The dish is now complete. Enjoy your meal! So, I've shared with you 3 very useful ways to preserve tomatoes and delicious tomato dishes that anyone can make. I hope these tips will be helpful for you in your daily kitchen. Give them a try. If you found this video helpful, please like it and share it with your friends and family. I hope these tips are really useful and that you'll love them. Now I'll say goodbye.